Okay guys, this is a quadratic equation, and we're going to solve this quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. You can also solve the quadratic equation using the factoring method. However, not every quadratic equation can be solved using the factoring method, so we need to know how to use the quadratic formula effectively. So, we are finding the zeros, also known as finding the solutions, also known as finding the roots. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug 0 in for f of x, and then we get 0 equals x squared minus 18x minus 40. We know that this is a quadratic equation because it has the x squared, and we know that we are in the correct form because we have 0 equals, we have my x squared term, my x term, and my constant. So I am ready to start the quadratic formula. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to identify what your a, your b, and your c are. Your a will always be your leading coefficient, which in this case is 1. Your b will always be your second coefficient, which in this case is negative 18, and your c will always be your constant, which is negative 40. We're going to take this information and plug it into that formula right there, which is known as the quadratic formula. Here we go. X equals the opposite of my b, so the opposite of negative 18 is positive 18, plus or minus the square root of negative 18 squared minus 4 times my a value, which is 1, times my c value, which is negative 40, all over 2 times my a value, which is 1. So we're going to do some math here. 18 squared, my assistant, please help me out with 18 squared. So negative 18 squared is going to give us 324. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 160. Okay? So I write x equals 18 plus or minus the square root of 324 plus 160 is 484 over 2 times 1, which is 2. Square root of 484, does that come out evenly?
22.
So the square root of 484 is 22, so I get x equals 18 plus or minus 22 over 2. Now I'm ready to what's called separate the problem. So we're going to do x equals 18 plus 22 over 2, and we're going to do x equals 18 minus 22 over 2. 18 plus 22 is 40. 40 divided by 2 is 20, so that's my first answer. 18 minus 22 is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So this guy gives me two solutions, and those two solutions are 20 and negative 2. That means that if you were to graph this as a parabola, it would cross the x-axis at negative 2, and then it would cross again at 20. Again, this is a quadratic. I know that it's quadratic because of the x squared. And we always want it to be equal to 0, and this is an example of the quadratic formula. Thanks.